Hello and welcome to Next Point Wins. I am your host, Matthew Geely. It is Wednesday, October 10th, 2018. Exciting show planned for today. A lot going on this past weekend in the world of sports, especially in the world of football. Students, hopefully everybody's staying dry today on campus. It's a muddy one out there. It's a little bit of a wet one. Fall break now coming to a close as we head into the stretch through October and all the way to, before we know it's going to be Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's crazy how quick the weather around here turns and things start to head home for the end of the semester. Exciting weekend coming up with Purdue football at Illinois, this Saturday. It's a noon kickoff. Also tonight we have Purdue volleyball taking on Penn State here in Holloway Gymnasium. That's a top 10 foe that Purdue volleyball will square off against. Lots happened last week. I got a lot to cover. I'm going to start with the NFL, and then we'll go NFL, and then we can go, we'll get a little college before I give you my picks of the weekend. Give you my 5 picks special on games you should look out for and games that are definitely the marquee games in the college football slate. I'll also throw in one wild NFL pick as well. A lot happened in the NFL last Sunday. I was in, if you didn't catch the last show, I strongly encourage you to go to YouTube and search Next Point Wins, or to SoundCloud, search Next Point Wins. If you go to SoundCloud, that's where you can find the audio of my last show. If you go to YouTube, that's where you can find every audio and every video for every show we've ever done. That's Next Point Wins on those 2 sites. Send in your best spots. You watched games last weekend on break. Send them in to me. nextptwins@gmail.com or Twitter under the Twitter handle Matt_Geely, Gigli. That's where you can send anything you want to talk about in the show. Any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to send them my way. Hopefully we can get them on the show sometime soon. So over break, I was in Austin, Texas, visiting some family. Had the Godfather there. Had my parents came on down. My younger brother came on down. So it was a nice weekend to get away. And watched a lot of football. Watched a healthy amount of football, I like to say. It was a healthy amount. Saturday, we were poolside with some games on the TV. And then Sunday, we spent, at least for the early afternoon games, we were in a sports bar with just numerous TVs and just absorbing it. We were like sponges, just absorbing some good food, some good drinks, and some good football. So, because of that, I watched a lot of NFL football, and I have a lot of comments to make about NFL football. And the NFL season is starting to become clear, and it's starting to become clear that there's about 3 or 4 legit teams, and then there's a lot of teams that we refuse to say that is a good team. Or there's a lot of teams that have proven that they can lose to inferior opponents, and therefore we have trouble saying that team is a legit team to make the Super Bowl. If we go up and down the rankings, if you will, I mean, it's easy to try to rank. I mean, it's hard to rank these teams, because there's a lot of, I don't want to call it mediocrity, but it's a tight league. I mean, you got your NBA where you have, you can always count on the Warriors, and you can always count on whatever team LeBron's on, and then you can always count on 2 or 3 more that kind of be around. But really, it always comes down to the Warriors and LeBron. We don't get that that's like set, and that drives a lot of people nuts, and it drives a lot of people away from the NBA. But that's definitely not what we have here in the NFL. There's a lot of teams that can beat a lot of inferior teams depending on the week. If you look at the top and you look at, okay, these teams are bona fide good. The Rams, probably the hands-on favorite to come out of the NFC, have to be the Rams at this point. They're 5-0. They've beaten good teams. They got a couple good games coming up. They have in my opinion, a saucy game coming up week 7, I believe. I'm trying to see. I think they got the Saints in week 7. I'm going to double check that here. No, they don't have the Niners. Maybe it's week 8. I remember because I was watching the Saints broadcast, which we'll get to that in a moment as well. I remember watching, and they showed Saints' upcoming schedule, and Rams was one of the games, which that's going to be a good game. And, yeah, week 9 at the Saints. That's going to be, we're going to learn a lot about the Rams in that game. Their defense is legit, and their offense is above average too. I just noticed, if you're watching on YouTube, has that flashing light behind me always been there? If you're watching on YouTube, there's I'll kind of right there. That. What is that? It's distracting me. We're going to have to figure out what's going on. I don't really need the disco rave vibe in here. No offense. We'll have to figure that out. Okay, anyways, that's going to be a saucy game. I know the Rams' defense is legit. They are. They're really good. And Jared Goff has shown that he's top quarterback in the NFL this year so far. And you got the best running back in Todd Gurley. You got a couple weapons on the outside. Cooper Kupp is a budding superstar. His team's good. You want to see them win the big games, and especially on the road. We're going to find out week 9 against the Saints. Patriots out of the AFC. I know they're only 3-2, but they're really, really good. I think that they deserve to be the top team in the AFC, and that puts them ahead of the Chiefs, which I guess you have to. I don't know. It's hard for me to do, but you have to call the Chiefs legit because, they're 5-0, but I don't believe in them. I don't. I think Mahomes has come down to earth the last 2 games while he's still found ways to win, which is, if you're a Chiefs fan or a Patrick Mahomes fan, that's a good sign. But how many weeks can you expect him to keep going and going and going? There's going to be, okay, this is where we're going to find out a lot about the Chiefs and a lot about Patrick Mahomes. There's going to be a week where they lose. Well, there's going to be a week they lose. We'll start there. And there's probably going to be a week where they lose to a team that they're favored to beat. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Patriots this week. At New England. New England's definitely going to be favored to win that game. I want to know how he responds after a loss. And I think that will be a loss. I would guess that's a loss. So, okay, these next 2 weeks, I'm not looking at the schedule. These next 2 weeks are huge for the Chiefs. This is where we're going to find out all about the Chiefs, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's must wins. I'm saying that if you go into New England and you shock them and beat them, okay, Chiefs are legit. I'm ready to buy in. If you go into New England and lose, and then next week you have the Bengals at home, and the Bengals are not exactly a team to scoff at, and that's Sunday Night Football too. So you got, wow, okay, now I'm getting excited. You got back-to-back primetime games with Patrick Mahomes against a team he won't be favored against, followed by a team at home he should be favored against. So you got to ask the question, if you lose to the Patriots and you go back home next Sunday night, you don't play well and you get thumped by the Bengals, how good are you? Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna put the Chiefs on the back burner as a wait and see team. I know it's crazy, they're 5-0, but I gotta see that defense stop somebody, and I had to see Mahomes continue to put good games against good teams, good defenses together. You get in playoffs, you gotta make the throw. You have to be able to make the throw. And not only that, but he's getting killed out there. The way he scrambles around and the way that offensive line blocks for him, I'm not sure he's going to survive the whole season. There's a lot of ifs with the Chiefs still. Trust me, you'd rather be 5-0 than any other record in the NFL, but there's a lot of question marks. Saints. The Saints, at the moment, are probably the biggest challenge to the Rams in the NFC. I need that defense to continue to stop people. I have nothing but faith in the offense, and I watched every second of that game Monday night, and how cool was that for Drew Brees becoming the all-time leader in passing yards? That was a very special game, and as a Purdue Boilermaker, you should be proud of him, and you should be proud of where he came from, which is walking around these same areas you're walking around at the moment. You know, he spent some time in Cary Quad. He was walking up and down the engineering mall. I mean, it's cool. He's that big around here, and he should be. And he should be that big in the NFL. I don't like getting into the whole, is he a top 5 quarterback all the time? Is he go on the Mount Rushmore quarterback? I don't really. He needs to get another ring. He deserves to get another ring, and it's almost a crime he only has one. The way he's played, those defenses have hurt him every single year. But there's a difference to this Saints team this year that if they continue to do what they did Monday night, there is a difference between this Saints team and Saints teams of old. And we finally get to see it because Mark Ingram's back in the lineup. When they ground and pound and they thump you a little bit with Ingram and then they mix up with Kamara and then you have Brees throwing the football, when you have those three working together, it keeps the defense on the sidelines, which is the best place for that defense. Yes, they're improving. Yes, they've gotten better. Cameron Jordan's legit on the defensive line. Their secondary has improved. But you can't. Drew Brees can score so quick, and he can throw so much. That's why he is one of the best. But it hurts you as a defender if you're constantly going back out on that field. Because now you're getting into shootouts, and it takes one mistake by somebody, and you lose. So you ground it, you pound it, you give it to Ingram. He gets you 4 yards in a cloud of dust, breaks a couple, get Kamara out of the backfield when you need it. You let Brees throw it some, and it's amazing how much better that defense looked. Now, I don't know how good the Redskins are. They didn't look good. Alex Smith looked bad. But that defense looked improved, and it's because they didn't play as many snaps. They had some more time off in between series. It's important. So Saints are a bubble team. I would call them legit, because somebody's got to rival the Rams in the top, and the Saints will rival. They are legit. Now we get into the iffies. This is the tier of teams that need to prove themselves. Prove themselves to me, prove themselves to themselves, and put the NFL on notice. And you know what's going to do it? You keep winning and you keep beating good teams. This is where I start getting fired up because there's certain teams in this mix for me. And I've done a really good job. All right, let's just set the stage here real quick. I've done a really, really good job to this point keeping my thoughts and keeping my expectations very low for the Chicago Bears. I'm a diehard Chicago Bear fan. If you know me, you know that. Diehard. Wear them on my sleeve. Just like I do the Blackhawks, just like I do the White Sox. I wear them on my sleeve. Just like I do with Purdue. And I've gone through a lot of years of mockery and a lot of years of heartache because this Bears team has been horrible. This Bears team might be really good. Might be really good. Okay, here we go. I'm not going to start with the Bears because I need a second to collect my thoughts. I'm going to start with the Jaguars because they're in this tier as well. Jaguars are a playoff team that's never going to beat the Patriots. And I know that triggers a lot of Jaguars fans out there because they think they're a little brother to the Patriots. Well, you are. But we beat them in the regular season this year. Don't care. Do not care. You don't beat them in the playoffs. You had your shot last year to beat them in the playoffs. But you decided it'd be a good idea not to run the ball and to give Tom Brady as many chances as possible to beat you. Guess what? He beat you. You're never going to beat the Patriots. Not with this team. Not with that quarterback. Not with that style of play. So, what do? Well, you get as far as you can, then you lose to the Patriots. That puts you in the category of pretty good. But you have a very low ceiling because I don't think you have any chance to overcome them in the AFC. I really don't. Bengals. Bengals are in this group of teams too because I don't get it. Seriously. They're here because I don't understand how they're here. I don't get it. You're 4-1. You just somehow came back randomly and beat the Dolphins last weekend. That was like the one game where it was to my back. in the sports bar. I had like 50 TVs in front of me with like multiple games on, but for some reason the Bengals-Dolphins game was behind me, and I didn't care one bit because I really didn't care about that game one bit. But I'm listening to the Godfather and my brother talk about it's over, Dolphins, and then I go, hey, what's the score that, like, not more than 20 minutes later, what's the score of that Dolphins-Bengals game? 17-17. Where did that come from? Not only that, but then I go, okay, now I'm kind of interested. So, what's the score now? 24-17? 27-17? How does that happen? They came out of nowhere. Now, their division, not great. Not bad, but not great. And I guess it's Andy Dalton is good. AJ Green's great. The defense is full of a bunch of wild cards. That's being kind. And their coach is below average, in my opinion. So I fully see them imploding and ending up 8-8, maybe 9-7, and probably being around the bubble and probably missing the playoffs because that's just what the Bengals do. But they deserve to be up there in this tier of, I don't get it because I don't understand how they got here. I really don't. All right, we got three more teams in this group. We'll move it along here. But, you know, NFL, we're going to do about, I did a lot of baseball last week. I didn't get to all the football I wanted to. Speaking of which, Red Sox closed out the Yankees last night in New York to move on to face the Astros. On the other side, you got Dodgers against the Brewers. So the next round of MLB is set up. We're gonna have time next week kind of to talk about that. So we're gonna just pump the brakes on MLB this season. I know we got a lot of NBA fans out there, especially on campus. I'm not ready to start talking about it. I don't care that Steve Kerr got ejected in a preseason basketball game. If anything, it's an unsportsmanlike conduct because why do we have preseason basketball? And I really don't care about anything to do with the NBA at the moment. So we're going to put that way in the back of the back burner. I'd rather talk about hockey before I talk about NBA right now. I'm going to be honest. I'm just not ready. It's a long season, and it's an outcome that we're going to know for a long time beforehand. So I don't really see the point in getting into it at the moment. Jimmy Butler likes to cry. He wants to get traded. I don't care. Trade him if he wants to. I don't think he's that good. Never thought he really was. So there you go. There's your NBA. There's your 15 seconds of NBA coverage this week. So we're going to do about half football or all football, half NFL, and then we'll get into previewing Purdue and college games last weekend and this weekend. So we're going to keep getting through these rankings because I got a couple sneakers. What? I got a couple sneaky picks at the bottom of this list that I think are going to make a jump. Okay, here we go. We're going to go a little faster now, though. Panthers. Panthers are interesting. 3-1. Toughest game remaining, Week 10 against Pittsburgh. So not a tough strength of schedule. It's actually the third easiest strength of schedule left this year. And I'd have to imagine that they're going to get Greg Olsen back. Cam Newton's pretty good. I don't really know much about the defense, to be honest with you. And that's another team that probably is going to contend in their division, but I don't see how I don't see how they top the Saints. And I think Tampa Bay is going to continue to improve. So I don't think they're going to get over the Saints. I really don't. Eagles. Eagles are interesting to me. 6th toughest schedule remaining. They come in 2-3, which is tied for, I don't know, first? No, I guess tied for second in their division. That NFC East is pathetic. You got Redskins 2-2, Cowboys 2-3, Eagles 2-3, Giants 1-4. Redskins have lost 1, Cowboys have lost 1, Eagles have lost 2 in a row, Giants have lost 2 in a row. That's a pathetic division. That's just disgustingly pathetic division. That being said, I would say the Eagles are the favorites still to come out. They need a running back. Jay Ajayi's out with the torn ACL now for the season, so it's going to be up to Chloe Clement, Wendell Smallwood. It's a small world. No, Smallwood, and Darren Sproles if he ever gets healthy. Those are the three that have to come back and be the workhorse. Everybody's talking about maybe Le'Veon Bell gets traded there. That would make them instantly the favorite to be in the favorite to win that division, and it instantly becomes a top contender with the Saints and the Saints to compete with the Rams in the NFC. So we're going to stay tuned on that one. But Eagles are lucky. They have a bad division. Let's just keep it there. Ravens, don't believe in. They're in this tier, I guess, at 3-2, but I don't believe in them. And the last team in the we need to see might be good, kind of the second tier of the NFL right now. Your Chicago Bears. Okay, so they come off a bye. This team is very, very similar to the Chiefs. This team is similar to Chiefs because their next two games are incredibly important. Incredibly important for Mitchell Trubisky, for this defense, for Matt Nagy, and to show that this team is ready to say, you know what, we are right there with the Saints as a team that's going to lead our division and contend with the Rams. First, you go to Miami. This is a Miami team that has fallen as of late, still 3-2. But you had a tough loss against Cincinnati last week, and this is a team that was undefeated for the first 3 weeks of the season. And then they got a little hiccup against the Patriots and the Bengals, and now you get the Bears. And then the Bears turn around and they get New England at home. You want to talk about saucy. That's two very, 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 very saucy games because your favorite in Miami, probably a game you got to get. And then, in my opinion, you just got to compete with the Patriots. You got to keep it close, and you got to make it you have to prove to yourself and to everybody in the NFL that you can contend. Oh. You know, it was for all the football that happened to not have the Bears or Purdue this past weekend. It was a little rough for me. I'm gonna be honest. Bears are right there, so it's must see. Okay, and then I'm gonna take a look at three teams in the next tier. I'm not gonna look at them all. Three teams in the next tier that could make the jump up, and three teams in the bottom tier that I'm not calling dead yet. Okay, so tier 3. Teams that could make a jump to being a what-if or contending at the top. Here they are. Vikings, 2-1. I believe in that offense. The defense is coming around. They have one of the easiest strengths of schedules left. They have to travel to New England in Week 13. And they still have the Bears twice and the Packers. And Seattle. So, Vikings have a chance to prove it to themselves and earn their way in to one of those top tiers. Next, Steelers, starting to figure it out. Beat a bad Atlanta team, which could be coming up in my next segment. Really bad Atlanta team, shockingly bad. Get to 2-1. Fourth strength of schedule left. They had the Ravens as their toughest game remaining, so super easy coming out. And you get Le'Veon Bell back here soon. Steelers are starting to impress me a little more. I don't really like Big Ben. I don't really want to get into that because I'll get too fired up, but not a huge Big Ben guy. And then the third team in this tier would have to be the Packers. 2-1, 19th strength of schedule left. They got to go to the Rams, which will be a good game for the Rams to prove that they got something. And they have to go to the Patriots. Packers, they did not look good against Detroit. Mason Crosby, holy crap. Learn how to make a field goal. It looked bad against the Lions. Rodgers didn't even look that good. He was running for his life. He threw pretty well in the second half. It's because he had to. Not great. So those three teams can make the jump. If you notice, I did two NFC North teams in there because, well, I'm trying to stay under the radar with my Bears right now because I got to see a couple more weeks. Got to see a couple more weeks of good offensive play. Defense is there. Offense has just got to continue to get better. Holy man. Okay. All right. And then here, all right, last group. I'm going to do three teams near the cellar, the bottom of the NFL that could get on a run. First up, and this should be no surprise because I'm pretty high on them and have been, and I'm going to continue to be because I think they got to run in them. I really do. The New York Giants. I know it's Eli Manning, and I know he stinks, but you're 1-4. You're only a game and a half out in your division, and you still got to match up with the Eagles, and you still got to face the Giants. I mean, you guys still got to face the Cowboys. You got chances to win in your division and get going. I think they can do it. This strikes me as a team that can win 4 in a row and get to 9-7 or 8-8. And to be honest, 8-8 might be good enough to win that division at this point. That's one team that could make the jump. Another team that could make the jump are Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, Tampa Bay is not a bad team, and they're probably going to win some games, but it's just they're not going to get up past the Saints, so I can't put Tampa Bay in there. Seattle's kind of in the same boat. They can make a jump too, but you're not going to get past the Rams. Atlanta could be in that same boat as well, but any division with the Saints or the Rams or the Patriots at the top of it, you can almost write it off. It's just the way it just feels right now. Here's one for you. Cleveland Browns. Browns get their second win of the year. You're thinking to yourself, whoa, Matt, pump the brakes on that one a little bit. I know they got 2 wins, but to actually contend in their division, to possibly get a wild card and make the playoffs, whoa. Okay, look at their division. Bengals, 4-1. I don't believe in the Bengals yet. Ravens, 3-2. That's not a saucy team to me. I got the Ravens losing this week. And then you got the Steelers sitting there at 2-1 as well. They're in the same spot as the Steelers right now. I have to imagine one of those two teams is going to leapfrog the other two and get to the top, either the Browns or the Steelers. So why not the Browns? Defense is good enough, and Baker's got that kind of it factor to me. So we'll put the Browns in there as a jumpable team. Chargers are a jumpable team. They sit at 3-2 right now. You need the Chiefs to come back down to earth at 5-0. But I thought the Chargers were the favorites to win that division from the get-go. So Chargers could be at the jump. So there's 2. And last but not least, my last saucy pick is got to be the Houston Texans. Houston somehow pulls out a win against Dallas on Monday night. Nope, Sunday night. Gets to 2-3. Puts you a game behind the Titans. You've won 2 in a row. I don't really believe in the Titans, and the Jaguars sit there above you as well. I don't know. That's 2 teams possible to beat. Houston's my last team that can make a jump and kind of contend in their division and maybe make the playoffs. Teams I didn't mention for good reason. The Colts, don't care. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did that hurt your feelings? I know there's a lot of Colts fans around here. Don't care. I seriously don't. Couldn't care less. Colts don't get a mention. Jets are nowhere to be found. Bills stink. Niners lost their quarterback. Raiders are horrible. Cardinals stink. Cowboys need to learn how to score before I even talk about them. Don't believe in the Lions because I don't believe in Matt Stafford or really anything to do with them. Buccaneers are too far behind. See, now I'm getting through everybody for you. Broncos stink. How do you lose to the Jets? Broncos stink. Redskins stink. Yeah, there we go. I think I got through every single team. You might be thinking to yourself, Matt, you only said that my team stinks. You didn't really say much about them. Well, they stink. Sorry. All right, let's take a look ahead real quick to this week, and then we're going to get to some college football because a lot happened in college football last weekend. All right, so you got Philly Giants Thursday night. That's a good game. Other games to watch or watchable. Chargers at the Browns. 1 o'clock game on CBS. That's going to be good. That's worth watching. Let's see here. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's another good game to watch on CBS. Good 1 o'clock slate. That's a great game. At Cincinnati, get to learn a lot about that division right there. Because if Pittsburgh wants to really make that leapfrog up, it's a good way to start by beating Cincinnati in Cincinnati. What else? Sunday night, Kansas City, New England. That's a good game. And then that's really it. It's not a lot of really great games. Monday night games, Niners at the Packers. I won't even watch that. Hopefully there's something else on Monday night. I'd rather watch Dancing with the Stars than Twinkle Toes Aaron Rodgers. Can't stand him. And the Niners don't do anything for me. I like Beathard, but not that much. All right, I'll pick out one of those games for my picks coming up here. But before I do that, I got to recap college football last weekend. And we'll do that after this short break. You are listening to Next Point Wins. For a slate of games that didn't look to be all that impressive, college football was good last weekend. Welcome inside Next Point Wins if you're just joining us. My name is Matthew Geely. This is an hour-long sports talk show every week, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. live on WCCR Purdue and the Tuned In app. That's where all you students are listening at the moment, I would imagine, or in your dining courts / offices around campus. Thank you to all of our sponsors and affiliates putting us on the air around campus at the moment. If you're curious, like, Matt, I really want to listen to you live, but I don't want to, I want to see you live. Well, you'd be in the minority, as no one really wants to do that. But, Cary Club is always open. So if you come to Cary Quad and the building facing Rossade, you can easily get in and get down to an area where they broadcast this show live through the glass. On the other side, tons of seating, and there's a pool. We got a little pool table, a little ping pong out there. See some guys come down and play every once in a while during the show. More than welcome. I know it's early. Thank you to everybody who got up this morning and went to class. You're a hero. I don't know how I'm going to do it tomorrow, but I'm getting ready. Exciting slate of college football coming up this weekend. So let's get into that right now. And let's start with last weekend because we got to recap. And we're going to start with the biggest game of the weekend, in my opinion, and it was because I was in the thick of it. I was in the trenches. When you talk about this game, there's two places you want to be. Number one, you want to be in Dallas, or number two, you wanted to be in Austin. I was in Austin, and that was fun. The Longhorns and the Red River Shootout take down the Sooners 48-45 in what was an absolute shootout. These are two teams where the defenses were the biggest question. For Texas, was their defense going to be good enough to stop Oklahoma? And for Oklahoma, was their defense going to continue to play well? Oklahoma did not play well. And Texas' defense did everything they possibly could to let them back in that game and win it. But when you have a guy named Dicker, and he is your kicker, good things are going to happen. Cameron Dicker hits a huge field goal at the buzzer to win it for his team. It was a lot of fun. A lot of very immature jokes were made. That happens. But it was a good time. And this Texas team, I don't like the whole Texas is back. I don't like that narrative because if you talk to anybody in Austin, if you talk to anybody who really follows this team, there was a huge question mark on why they weren't on. There was a huge question mark as to why they weren't good for a while. They're the premier team in Texas, and there's a lot of talent coming out of Texas. We flew into Dallas on Friday night, and it was nighttime. It was like 8 p.m. We're flying into Dallas, and I kid you not, as we got close to landing, I think I probably looked down from my plane seat and saw 12 high school football games going on. Turf fields, jumbotrons. The first one, my brother, who's at the window seat, and I'm in the middle seat, don't get me started on that. He goes, Matt, what college is in Dallas, Texas? And I'm starting to think, I go, well, probably some D2, D3 schools, but nothing big. He's like, no, this stadium looks bigger than that. It was a high school. The Jumbotron looked like Ross-Ades. I couldn't believe it. And then you just go, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. We had this guy sitting in front of us on the plane who played against Baker Mayfield in the state championship. Baker beat him the last second. He said that Baker came over to their sidelines before the game and was threatening to fight every single one of them, which, what a Baker move, am I right? Anyways, my cousin played against Des Bryant in high school. I mean, he played with Julian Edelman. I think Paul Goldschmidt went to his high school. Just crazy. And, you know, you can say, oh, like, in Indiana, it's basketball. It is. Basketball is just different here. But maybe it's because I'm around it all the time, so I don't see or appreciate it as much as other people would from the outside. But I look at Indiana and what they have in basketball, and I don't even think it's close to Texas in football. Texas in football is outrageous, and that's why I love it. So we're watching these high school games from above. It's kind of fun. And it goes back to my point is there's no reason for Texas not to be good. I mean, Mac Brown had this team when he was here in Austin. I mean, he had top 10 teams year in and year out, bringing in top recruits like Jamal Charles, Colt McCoy, Vince Young. I mean, just Jordan Shipley, just really, really good players. And then there was just a huge fallout, just a huge drop-off. And they were close to unwatchable for some years. Then you get Tom Herman in there, and he loses a couple bad games his first couple years, but it takes him some time, you can tell, to get his guys in there. But he's always liked a dual-threat quarterback who can run a little bit and throw it a little bit, which he has in Ellinger, who had a really good game. He took care of the football, which is the biggest thing for him. He's got some playmakers on the outside, including Little Jordan. His name's fun to say, but his name gets called a lot because he makes a lot of really good plays. And he's got a defense that's starting to stop people. You put all that together, you got a really good football team. And he's got a really good football team. Man, that loss to start the year against Maryland really looks ugly now because, I mean, this Texas team should be undefeated, and they should be in the top 4 conversation at the moment. After that big win against Oklahoma, I mean, you look at the Big 12 standings, they're 3-0 in the conference with West Virginia right ahead of them. You got Oklahoma behind them. West Virginia, the only team left that's undefeated in that conference right now. And you look at Texas' schedule coming up, and they're at home against West Virginia November 3rd in what's going to be a huge game. They got Baylor and Oklahoma State before that. Those are 2 games they absolutely should win, and it really shouldn't even be close to a problem. Baylor right now sits at 2-1. Oklahoma State at 1-2. I mean, that's 2 games that are going to be heavily favored to take care of business. And then you face off against West Virginia. West Virginia has to go to Iowa State and then at home against Baylor before that. So probably still undefeated. Iowa State sometimes can give people trouble, but definitely not a game that they should be worried or not favored in. So, I mean, that's going to be an undefeated West Virginia team coming to Austin to take on probably a 1-loss Texas team for the Big 12 championship. Because you look at Texas' schedule after West Virginia, and they got Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas. Those are 3 very winnable games, and it'd be a huge letdown if they miss. So, now, okay, if you beat West Virginia, you've beaten Oklahoma, your only blemish is somehow you lost to Maryland. Somehow you gave up 34 points to Maryland. First game of the year. I mean, boy, that's a tough look. How do you lose to Maryland and you go and you beat USC at USC, you beat TCU at TCU, and you beat Oklahoma? 3 top 25 teams. Oh. Texas looked good, and boy, was Austin fun. That night, walking around downtown Austin, the buzz was out of this world. They got a couple of streets down there where it's just bars after bars. The nightlife is awesome. You got 6th Street, Rainy Street, South Congress, also known as SoCo if you're a local or if you're in with the locals, as I've now learned. Even 6th Street has turned into like West 6th, Upper 6th, Lower 6th. I mean, if you've never been to Austin, it's got to be on your bucket list. It's got to be a top 5 place in the U.S., especially a college student to go. You have to. It's just, and if you go, throw out a couple Texas fights. People down there love it. It's crazy. If you hook the horns, if you do the hook 'em horns with your fingers, and then you start yelling Texas fight, you're gonna be in business. If you know what I mean. Okay. All right. Moving on. Alabama took care of Arkansas. No surprise there at number 1. Michigan beat Maryland. No surprise there. Northwestern knocks off Michigan State. There we go, Northwestern. I'm becoming the biggest Northwestern fan on the planet because I need that kind of effort against Wisconsin. I need you to beat Wisconsin. Great job beating Michigan State, but that's not what I need. I need you to beat Wisconsin. If you don't remember why, go look at my last episode where I broke down Purdue's chances to have a huge matchup against Wisconsin and West Lafayette coming up. Beat Wisconsin, Northwestern. Come on. NC State took care of Boston College because Boston College can't do any offense without Dillon. Except for they did get 23 points, which is surprising. Clemson blew out Wake Forest. Miami came back and somehow beat Florida State. Florida State had that game all but won and just blew it. Iowa State beat Oklahoma State. There you go. Oklahoma State was a top 25 team at the moment. They're not anymore. Iowa State beat them on the road. Florida took down LSU. That was a big upset. LSU had moved all the way up to number 5. Came down to earth as Florida kind of handled them all game long. Ohio State knocks off IU. Buckeyes look good. IU hung around for a little while, but Buckeyes look good. That's a really good team. That's definitely the team that's going to represent the Big Ten in the playoff at this moment, unless they have a huge hiccup somewhere. They still got to play Michigan, but I don't really believe in Michigan. And undefeated Kentucky, undefeated no more. They go into Texas A&M and get beat. Wisconsin took care of business. So, it was not a great... Oh, and Notre Dame won. Yeah, they beat Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, 45-23. Notre Dame's starting to look like they're going to become a serious contender for the top 4. I still think they're going to lose. I'm not giving up on that take yet. I will beat that horse till it dies, and I'm going to continue to until they lose because I think they will. I don't know where. I'm starting to run out of games on the schedule they could lose, but Northwestern could be my second favorite team in the world if they can somehow beat Notre Dame and Wisconsin. Northwestern could really come through for me. Come on, Wildcats. So not a great slate of games, but some good ones. Some good ones. All right, let's preview the Boilers, Illinois. Let's give you my picks. First, Purdue to Illinois. Coming off of a bye, chance to get healthy. Facing an Illinois team that's 3-2 overall. They beat Kent State. They beat WIU. WIU. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Time to play a game. Who's WIU? I'll give you a hint. The I is Illinois. Oh, I guess that's not as hard. Western Illinois. Oh, I knew that. Okay. Never mind. We're not playing the game today. Western Illinois, the Leathernecks, which is kind of funny. They beat them 34-14. Not exactly a blowout. Lost to USF, lost to Penn State, and just beat up on Rutgers. Illinois is not a great team. This is a game that Purdue's got to have. This is one of those on the schedule, as we broke down in previous shows, as, hey, Purdue, if you're going to make a bowl, you got to beat, this is a must-win. You have to win at Illinois, and it shouldn't be hard. That's a 3:30 game. Oh, it's 3:30? I didn't know that. I thought it was a nooner. All right, 3:30 on FS1 at Illinois for the Boilermakers. That could get them to 3-3. Coming right back home to face Ohio State. If you can beat Illinois, that's a 7:30 game on ABC, by the way. That was just announced this Monday. Purdue, Ohio State, Ross-Ade Stadium, under the lights, 7:30 ABC, and, dare I say it, College game day? Not confirmed, not even really speculated by anybody but me, but if you look at the slate of games There's not many that deserve a college game day, and for it to be an ABC game, their primetime game, a lot of times they like to bring game day to their primetime because then they can really go for it. Probably going to be Herbie back in town again. Mr. Herbstreit, who started out the year in Ross-Ade for the Northwestern game, probably coming back. I get to say hi to my favorite bodyguard. Got to meet Kirk Herbstreit's bodyguard last time he was here. He was a pretty cool dude. Quite a few stories. So I get to reconnect with my old friend. No, of course I didn't get to talk to Herbstreit, but I got to talk to his bodyguard. That's pretty close, right? Anyways, 7:30 game. Let's keep our eyes and ears open for where college game day will be going because it makes sense. We'll see. As far as this Illinois team, what to look out for, their quarterback, MJ Rivers II, freshman. He's not started every game, but he's been in there most. They got Corbin at running back. There's just really nothing with this team that even deserves. They score 29 points a game. They allow 28 a game. That's not awesome. They allow 483 yards a game. Their defense isn't great. It just doesn't strike me as a game that they should really even contend in. The spread right now is 10.5. I'll give you my prediction here in a short minute. Purdue, everybody's still healthy. Everybody's still looking good. Blau will continue to be the starting quarterback until something needs to happen, if something needs to happen. And Purdue with a great opportunity to shoot up that conference. Other games to kind of look out for this weekend in the Big Ten, a really big one is Wisconsin at Michigan. This is really tough for me because never, ever, ever do I want to root for Michigan. And it doesn't help us if Michigan beats them because it's all about conference and they're not in our conference. Which, this is a question that I didn't really know the answer to, but I'm starting to learn, I believe. If you lose to somebody, if you're in the West, so Purdue's in the West, and you lose to somebody in the East, does that count against your conference record or not? And I'm trying to look and see any other team who's lost to somebody or beat somebody, and I don't see any. So I'd have to imagine it does not count. We'll know for sure next week against Ohio State, but that's a question I don't really know. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't count. So Wisconsin losing to Michigan doesn't really help us in our side of the standings, which makes sense because it's not, you don't play the same team. So it should only count for the your teams you play on your side. So you don't really have to root for Michigan if you don't want to. I don't really want to, so I won't. But that's that. Okay, all right, let's get my picks in because we got to wrap up shop here real soon. First up, we will do, I'm kind of doing this one on the fly. Okay, we'll do Georgia at LSU. Georgia at LSU. Dogs come in second. LSU coming off that loss, ranked 13th. Spread is 7.5 in favor of LSU at home. Georgia wins it by 12. Georgia by 12. So I'll give up the points and go Georgia. Bulldogs are good. That's a team that they keep saying they're going to sometime they're going to get rid of Fromm and bring in the true freshman stud. I don't see why I wouldn't mess with it at all. I really like Georgia a lot. I think that's probably my favorite team in the top four right now, in the top four who should be in the top four at the end of the year if they can somehow get through the SEC. I really would like to root for Georgia in the playoff. They got Murderers Row coming up. LSU, Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn, all ranked teams coming up next. You get through those, though, and then you finish out with UMass and Georgia Tech. You get to avoid Alabama this year, which is helpful, until the SEC championship game. I like Georgia a lot. So I'll take Georgia in that one. Next up, we will do Washington at Oregon. Normally a Pac-12 at night game. This time it's a 3:30 start, which is nice, on ABC or ESPN2, depending on where you are. It's a 3-point spread in favor of the Ducks at home. 7th ranked Washington, 17th ranked Oregon. I don't believe in Oregon. Their defense is just not good enough for me. Herbert's a pretty good quarterback, but not as good as Browning. Washington has been getting better as of late. They got a couple big games coming up as well. They had a nice win over BYU a couple weeks ago. Just beat UCLA by 7. They got this game, and they got at home against Colorado in what's going to be a phenomenal game. And I'm going to take Washington to beat Oregon. All right, there's 2. Number 3. Let's go. Not a great slate once again, FYI. Number 3, we're going to do Wisconsin at Michigan. 7:30 ABC, Saturday night. Spread is 8, plus 8 for Wisconsin. So Wisconsin's getting 8 at Michigan. I am shocked by that. I have to imagine that number comes down as we get closer to game time. I would jump on Wisconsin and ride that horse to the promised land. I would go insane for Wisconsin right now. Wisconsin. Plus 8, you get 8 points. That's a lot of points, especially against Michigan, who have proven that they can't win the big game. Wisconsin. Definitely Wisconsin. That's shocking to me. Purdue, Illinois. Boilermakers come in off the bye. I'm going to say Purdue 42, Illinois 26. Final. Boilermakers. Bring on the Buckeyes. Coming up next. And then my one sneaky pick for NFL. I've been going back and forth whether I want to jump on the Browns or jump on the Steelers. I think I'm going to have to go. See, you got the Browns at home against the Chargers. Chargers are getting a point. Or you get the Steelers on the road getting 2.5. So you got the Browns getting a point at home or the Steelers getting 2.5 on the road. I think the Steelers are a better team than the Browns, but I think the Chargers... All right, I'm going to go Steelers. Steelers are my pick. They're going to beat the Bengals on the road. Those are my picks of the weekend. It's going to be an exciting weekend of football. Hopefully everybody's ready. Thanks for tuning in this week. It was kind of a wild show. Did a lot, all football this week. It was kind of a... I got into town at like 10 p.m. last night, so it was tough for me to kind of get something ready for today. But I'm glad I could come in and kind of just recap what happened and what's upcoming. Next week, we'll get back to normal programming. Got to start working on maybe bringing in somebody to chat with me in a little bit of an interview. We'll get some Unsportsmanlike Conduct back next week and some other fun things. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy this fall weather. It's going to cool off. Get those hoodies out. Get those joggers out. Might even be able to throw on a beanie at night. It's exciting times. Enjoy football this weekend. Boiler up, hammer down. Purdue volleyball tonight in Holloway Gymnasium, taking on Penn State, top 10 foe. And then you got Purdue, Illinois, at Illinois, 3:30 on Saturday. And we'll see you next week. This has been Next Point Wins.